Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the show. It is Sunday, August. I don't even know. I quit. It's like the 15th or the 16th or something like that. So we got a special guest today. We got Rodney Fyke on the show, and we're going to be talking a little bit today about his Kickstarter that's going on right now that has 3 days left. Three, called Roadkill Rampage. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce Rodney Fyke.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. Happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's no problem at all. I enjoy doing the shows. It helps me to meet a lot of you guys. And, with COVID and everything that's happened this year, it's been really tough for a lot of artists and a lot of people that normally that is their platform to meet new people is to go to the show and put their work out there. So now they're stranded at home. They don't really have an online platform. Some do, some don't, but several of the artists are some that I followed for a long time, and some of them are a lot of newer ones like you and a couple others that I'll be having on in a few weeks that it's really cool to get the chance to know you.
Right.
And we see your art online all the time, and we see your books, and that we see stuff floating around with your name on the cover. But it's like, who is Rodney Fyke? And so now this gives me a chance to meet you, and it gives everybody else a chance, to meet you and to know who you are and know that name behind the book and know that name behind the Kickstarter. And
Right.
I really think it helps to get the word out there and promote it. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of fun getting out, meeting everybody, and people that we normally wouldn't get to meet at conventions because, like, you're 50 miles west of St. Louis.
Yes.
We don't typically go that far for conventions. We've been to Kansas City a couple of times, but yeah, with the internet, we can go anywhere. So, and that's a far further reaching arm on the internet than we can drive. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's really funny. I know I mention this every time, but I started Art Exposure 2 years ago, and I was like, I like going to cons. Cons are a lot of fun, but the problem with cons are if the artist has a long line, then sorry, that window in the background was making me lag. So if you go to a con, the artist may have a long line, and then you may not get a chance to talk to them. And
Right.
so doing the online platform where like you and Sean do, where you guys get on and you draw and you answer people's questions, it's more of a personal interaction. And I've been to cons where, an artist will have 100,000 people online, and then another time they'll have three and they're like really bored and they're like, oh, hey, you want to hang out for a little bit. And so it's cool to get to meet them. And that's the nice thing about this online platform is, with Art Exposure, I was like, hey, you don't normally draw online, but, try it out. Go online once, the video will be out there forever. People can learn who you are and what you do instead of just having the name. And
Right.
I've probably asked 100 people, and I got one person that was like, this sounds really cool. And that was Fenny the Great. And so it was really cool to get them online because 5 months down the road they kept going on with it, and they had 40,000 followers after 2 or 3 weeks of streaming their art.
Yeah, that's great.
So that was kind of like, I'm like, hey, look, this person did it, put yourself out there. And so now it's kind of funny, it's hindsight for 2020 that now we need it. So I already had everything already set up to do it. And I'm like, hey, let's get on and talk about stuff. So it's really cool. I really enjoy it because it gives me a chance to get to know you, and all the audience can get a chance to know you and what kind of work you do.
Yeah,
Looks
that's
like we
cool.
got people coming in here. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
So, real quick, Russ, I'm sorry. So I uploaded that picture to the beginning of the Kickstarter, so it'll show up there now.
Okay.
So it's randomly inserted into one backer who pledges $40 or more.
Okay.
So it could be a new pledge, or they can increase their pledge.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I wanted to do laundry. Sorry,
Awesome.
Russ. Producer B had to come in.
Producer B is in the house.
Oh, that's fine.
And we're still doing the sticker thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, we're good.
Come on. Come on, B.
What is it? What is a DILF?
I don't know. I was trying to block it on there. It's being a pain in the butt.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, let's talk about your current Kickstarter. So you got Roadkill Rampage. Tell us a little bit about it. I'll bring it up here on screen in a little bit and we can kind of show off what it all entails.
So Roadkill Rampage is our Hasm Productions' first foray into the horror genre. Up to this point, I've done all ages comics, Peanut Pudding and Jelly, Pitter Patter. I wanted to do more adult themed stuff, and I've always wanted to do a horror comic because I'm a big fan of horror. The horror comics that I grew up with, Tomb of Dracula and all the EC titles back in the day. So I wanted to do something in that vein. So Roadkill Rampage is my attempt at that. If you're a fan of a horror or 80s horror movies like Silver Bullet or American Werewolf in London 16, or not 16, Christine. I was thinking of the old Kiss song, Christine 16. But yeah, Christine, movies, the old 80s Stephen King movies. That's kind of what I had in my head cinematically as the visuals for the book. And I think it played out pretty well. But it's the story of a young couple that decide to go out for a drive in the country on a nice sunny day. And when they get out on the country, the main lead character, Ace, decides that he's going to start running down all the local wildlife with his car. And when he does that, Tess, the lead female, says that she's horrified by it and she tries to stop him. And when she can't stop him and things take a turn for the worse, the animals come back. The animals that he's killed come back to exact their own brand of revenge. So it's a pretty fun read. The artwork is absolutely beautiful. A local artist, Eamon Hill, did the artwork for it. He is also a local tattoo artist here in Cincinnati. Phenomenal work. But it's a lot of fun. People that have read, we've sent some preview copies out to some people, and they're really impressed because they don't expect it from me because they expect Peanut Pudding and Jelly or Pitter Patter. They're expecting cute, all ages stuff, funny stuff. And although there is a little bit of humor sprinkled in this, it's a horror book. So the positive feedback we've gotten up to now was really, really encouraging, really validating for me because it lets me know that I did it right. I did a good job. So the Kickstarter is live currently, and it is going through Thursday at 7 p.m. I believe is when it ends. So if anybody wants to hop on the Kickstarter, the Roadkill Rampage Kickstarter, and check it out, which we'll do here tonight, that would be awesome. And as Tina just popped in and said, she put a pinup original on there. It's going to be randomly selected into one of the backers who pledges $40 or more. So that's up there. That's new. And then so that's that. And then we're going to give away some stickers tonight here in a little bit. We can talk about that here in a little bit.
Yeah, and so another cool thing is not a lot of projects do this, but Roadkill Rampage is ready to go. So once it is funded, it will go straight to print. Yes,
it is completely done. And I am currently on the script for issue 3. Issue 2 is done. It's completely thumbnailed out. Eamon and I met 3 weeks ago and had a production meeting and went over everything, make sure we're both on the same page as far as the artwork goes. And I'll actually be calling him tomorrow and for progress updates on where he's at so far. And yeah, so issue 1's done. And the cool thing about it is since we're up to almost 90 backers now, there have been a lot of backer incentives. So you're not just getting Roadkill Rampage, you're getting Scarlet Huntress Tales Through Time PDF from Sean and Stephanie Forney. And then you're getting Adam Fields' first 2 issues of his creator-owned book, Prowl. You're getting PDFs of those. So there's a lot of, you're getting a whole basket of goodies just for getting Roadkill Rampage. So yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff.
And so one of the things that's unlocked, it was at 75 backers, wasn't it? Where that unlocked the Scarlet Huntress digital comic from Sean Forney.
Yep. Yeah, and that's for any of you that don't know what that is, Sean, the Scarlet Huntress is kind of like your Little Red Riding Hood grown up and fighting cryptids and stuff like that all throughout the region. Werewolves and Bigfoots and stuff like that. So it's pretty awesome. Him and his wife, Stephanie, write it, and Sean does all the artwork for it. It's a beautiful book. It's a lot of fun. So if you're into that sort of thing, cryptids and stuff like that, it's right in your wheelhouse. There's no audio.
Sorry, I accidentally hit the button. My mouse is sitting over here. And isn't there another book that you guys are unlocking at 100 backers, I believe?
At 85, we unlocked the first 2 issues of Prowl.
That's right. It was 85. I'm sorry. There's so many projects going on right now. It's been crazy.
Yeah. So that's that Adam Fields, who is actually one of the other guys, because Sean does a pinup as well. Well, there's my pinup, and that will actually be in issue 1. And that's what's. Okay. So yeah, the first 2 issues of Prowl from Adam Fields was unlocked at 85 backers, and then
at 3,000, you guys are going to unlock this, which you guys are fairly close to.
Yeah, we're just about $113 or so. We're almost there. So.
And so, I mean, guys, definitely want to check this out. I've looked over the book, and it looks amazing. And not to mention, you also get the PDFs. Like he said, they've already beat the 75 backer goal and unlocked Sean's Scarlet Huntress digital. And then you guys now, after breaking the 85 backer, you have unlocked Prowl digital 1 and 2. So, I mean, you guys are getting a lot of stuff with backing those. There's the Scarlet Huntress one right there.
Yeah. And there's a coaster set, there's a set of stickers, there's postcards, mini prints. So yeah, all the 3 pinups by Sean, and Adam's got a pinup in there, and Luke Stone's got a pinup in there as well. So some really cool artwork, along with the gorgeous artwork there from Amon on the interiors. So yeah, you're getting a whole lot of goodies for backing the Kickstarter for sure.
And then here's some of the interiors of the book. And I love the black and white and the grayscale. I mean, it looks amazing. The art is phenomenal on this book.
Yeah, he did a gray wash with that. He did pencils digitally, and then he printed them out on Bristol board, and he inked them and did the gray wash organically. So it's definitely got that 70s, 80s horror vibe feel to it, and I just love the way it looks.
And so you guys have the pledge without a reward scale. You guys can have the digital PDF.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just gonna roll through some of these pledges here. Come on, there we go. So you guys have the Give Me Some Roads. I wish that green thing would quit coming up. So you guys have Just Give Me Some Roadkill. So that one's just a sticker pack.
Yeah.
And then this one, you guys have the physical copy. And the signed by Rodney, you, and Amen.
Sorry about that. I had a message coming in real quick.
Oh, you're fine. And then you guys have the black and white variant cover.
Yes.
And then this is the book with the 3 stickers. Sorry, the green thing keeps popping up and it's like throwing me off. Usually it doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And then there's the one with the mini prints. So you guys got a pretty broad selection. I mean, you can get the prints, the stickers, and then you got the postcard set.
Yeah, there's a lot. We offer a lot because we know people have varying tastes and what they like to collect and receive and stuff. So we wanted to make sure we had a pretty wide array of things.
Yeah, and like I said, it definitely looks awesome. Who did that? The recent, I guess, pinup of the car.
With the squirrel eating the eyeball,
Yes.
that was Adam Fields.
Okay. Yeah, I just seen it the other day when I was scrolling through, and that looks phenomenal too.
Yeah, it's and you know the funny thing about that is, I don't think he'll care if I say this. He did the wrong grill on the car. The wrong
I was waiting for it.
And it was totally my fault because I didn't notice it. And so I called him. I said, can you call me real quick? And I was like, dude, I'm so sorry, because that was I have a part-time job where I drive, and I drive pretty long distances, so I just completely dropped the ball there. And I was like, can you fix it? And he's like, oh yeah. And I told him, what it needed, and he's like, yeah, the grill just needs to go straight across, no divider in the middle, right? I said, yeah, exactly. So he literally, it didn't, an hour later it was done, and then he went back and did it even more, like tweaked it even more. So yeah, it was thank God he was cool about it, and I apologized profusely because it shouldn't have happened, but things happen. But
Yeah,
it all turned out for the best. Adam's a great guy. I was a good sport about it. So yeah. And then there's the air freshener. That is so cool. Michael.
So I gotta ask, does the air freshener smell like roadkill?
No, it's to cover up the roadkill smell.
I'm just kidding. I had to say it. Because wouldn't that be hilarious? That would just totally throw everybody off guard. Man, I got this cool air freshener with this Kickstarter. They open it up and they're like, whoa.
It smells like dead skunk. My eyes, they're watering. There he is. Adam is in the comments. Hey, guys.
Hey, Adam, what's going on? Thanks for joining. So, yeah, you guys get some awesome stuff. And then this is was this one of the pieces that they were inserting in to a random backers?
No, that is, I think that's up for sale.
And it is up for sale. Yeah, reward level. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I've been looking at like 10,000 of these trying to get caught up on everything, and everything
there's a bunch of them out there right now. Yeah, Adam will tell you he read the book and he really liked it as well. So I don't know if you heard it, Adam, but I was telling Russ the story about fixing the car and how it was my fault because I didn't catch it. Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff on there.
And you guys even have the original pages listed, which it's really cool seeing that in some of these that you can actually purchase those. Because, I mean, it's neat to get the art for the covers, but it's not very often you're able to buy the inside pieces to the
Yeah,
books.
the
It's
interior
kind of
pages.
cool.
Yeah, I think we sold one of those pieces, at least one. I don't know if we've sold any more, but yeah, they're gorgeous.
They definitely are. All right. So, yeah, if you guys haven't already backed Roadkill Rampage, definitely go give it a look. I'm going to put the link in the comments here. So, there we go. We're back. I have to wait. There's some kind of a delay going on with my computer today. I thought exiting out of that browser would fix it, but gotta
It's
love computers.
it's
Every
okay.
day.
It's like just barely noticeable, so no worries.
So let's talk about a little bit about. Sorry, had the hiccups. Let's talk a little bit about the other project that you said you had going on right now.
Let's see. I am currently writing the script for issue 2 of Pitter Patter, which is my little cat buddy here behind me. That's Dude, and his other buddy. You can see his tail there on the banner. That's Buddy. It's Buddy and Dude. They're two cats that live in the house, and it's their adventures. And I had the book done, and had it sent it off to the editor. Casey Pierce is my editor from Source Point Press, and she liked it. And then we decided that we were going to expand the issue, so I had to add additional pages. So I kind of just went back and reworked the second half of the book and the middle part of it and worked it into one big story. And then we decided we didn't want to do that, so I went back and chopped that part of it out, and then I wrote a 6-page backup story. And I haven't quite got the ending yet. I'm still kind of stuck on that, so I just kind of walked away from it for a couple of days and hoping that it'll come to me, kind of like the punchline. So I've got the first four pages and part of page 5 written out, thumbnailed out, but the ending, nothing that I'm happy with has come to me yet. So I'm kind of waiting for that to happen. So we're doing that. I'm writing the script for issue 3 of Roadkill Rampage. I've been doing a little bit of research for some things in that I can't talk about because they're spoilers. And that's been keeping me busy. And then doing the draws, the weekly draws with Sean on Thursdays and Friday nights. Working on commissions. And driving 2 days a week. So it's doing everything I can to keep myself busy.
Yeah, and the Thursday and Friday night draws are a lot of fun too. It's a lot of fun to watch you guys. And for those of you that don't know what that is, Sean Forney and Rodney Fyke go live on Thursday nights and Friday nights, and they take ideas from the audience and they do a 30-minute quick draw. So basically, they both try to sketch whatever characters that the audience chooses prior to the show. Like the first show, you guys did. What was the first show?
Was it the Goblins? Or no, that was
it was the Goblins. And then this week you guys did G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
For one of them.
Yeah, because I did Zartan. And that's a lot of fun. This week we're going to be doing DC because there's a DC summit or something going on next weekend, and so to keep in the DC theme, I think Thursday night we do it on my channel, the Thursday Night Throwdown, which is it goes to Hasm.com, and then it goes to the Hasm YouTube channel, and then the Art of Rodney Fyke on Facebook. And then Friday night we do it on all of Sean's networks, Sean Forney Illustration, and it's called Friday Night Draw. So I believe Thursday night we're doing DC Heroes, and Friday night we're doing DC villains.
Well, that'd be cool.
I don't know exactly who we're doing yet, but yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. And Tina was talking about creating a group where people can go in to the group and suggest stuff as well. So we're trying to build that community even larger than it is. So there's more interaction and stuff, and build that audience. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We had Nate Lovett on there this week as a guest on Friday night, and Thursday night we had Brian Silverbacks, who does Loggerhead from Scout Comics, and he was a lot of fun. He did a really awesome sketch cover of Dark Goblin. Hey, Adam is in the house. What's up, Adam? How you doing, buddy?
So what exactly is Pitter Patter about? This is the first time. I mean, of course, we talked about it before the show, but what exactly can you talk about what issue 1 is about with Buddy and Dude?
Yeah, actually, I've got it right here. Hang on. Here is the cover for issue. This is issue 1. And it basically introduces them. It's kind of your Abbott and Costello group. There's a funny man and a straight man. And the first issue, you're introduced to Dude's friend Dizzy, who is a spinner mouse, and he I don't know if you have cats, but there's a little spinner mouse that there's 4 cats in this household, and the little spinner mouse, they fill it with treats, and you spin it and it spins around. It's like a Weeble. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. And when you spin it, the treats go flying out. So Dude, who is the gray cat, he's kind of the naive one, and he doesn't realize that Dizzy is an inanimate object. So he thinks he's a new person that's come into the household and wants to be his friend. And Buddy is trying to figure out how to break it to him that he's just an inanimate object. And he doesn't have the heart to, shatter Dude's dreams of having a new friend in the house. So he just kind of lets it go. And they accept him into the group, and he becomes part of the cast. Yeah, so that's the last page of the first issue. There you
go. So Roadkill Rampage is kind of a big leap from what you normally do.
Yes, it's definitely a departure from what people are used to seeing from me. Because we have 6 issues. Actually, I was thinking about this the other day. We actually have 9 issues of Peanut Pudding and Jelly, because there are 6 regular-sized issues, but then we also did each individual character, Peanut Pudding and Jelly, each have their own origin book, and it's a 12-page book, and we printed them ash can size, and those are legit books. They're 12 pages, and each book is a story about Peanut outside of his costume, Pudding outside of her costume, and Jelly outside of his costume, and them all overcoming certain obstacles in their lives. Peanut, who is based on me, because it's an autobiographical story of it's basically my brother and sister and I. It's based on the 3 of us when we were kids, running around the neighborhood and believing we were superheroes. I spent 7 years in Evansville, Indiana, and that's where a lot of this takes place. It's not important or relevant to the story, but we were in the newspaper, the Evansville Courier, because there was a toy fair going on at the mall, and we were going down to Sears to get rakes because it was it was leaf raking season. And we were going down because we used to always rake leaves and shovel snow and stuff like that when we were kids to make money. So we were going down there to buy rakes, so we could go new rakes, I should say, so we could make money to go buy Christmas gifts for everybody. And this toy fair was going on. So there's all these new Star Wars toys, all these new Mego figures and Stretch Armstrong and all this stuff. And we go flying past all those toys down to the far end of the mall where Sears was and bought our rakes, and then ran all the way back down to the other end of the mall out. And there happened to be a news reporter there covering the toy fair. And he sees this little gaggle of kids running and completely ignoring the toys and then coming back with rakes in our hands. So he had to stop us and ask us what the heck we were doing. So he did a story on us, and it appears in the paper. So in the art of that article is actually on the interior front cover of issue 1 of Peanut Pudding and Jelly. And actually, let's see, I've got the trade.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of neat when people don't realize all of that. But yeah, this is the article. It was in the Evansville Courier, and that is a picture of us Halloween 1975. I'm Batman. My brother was Shazam, and my sister was Ursa from Planet of the Apes. So yeah, that. And that's what issue 2 that's what issue 1 is about. It's about Peanut Pudding and Jelly running and getting rakes so they can go do chores and rake people's leaves and make money so they can go buy their costumes and become superheroes.
That's really cool. And that's where some of the greatest stories come from, you know.
Absolutely.
I use that a lot in my book. I did, like, you know, my wife read it today because I just finished it at 3:00 this morning. And she finished reading what she hadn't read tonight, and she just kept kind of laughing because, you know, it makes the story more personable to actually know that, especially for people that know you, that know this stuff happened in your life, or, you know, to go back later on and tell the story, and for people that have read it to go, well, that totally makes sense now. Because sometimes there's, like, you know, like in my book, there's a random part about somebody making tacos. And it's totally out there, but it fits in the story. And I had this part where this person was making an awesome dish that somebody really loved that they hadn't seen in forever.
Right.
And so I was like, I can't think of anything. What would be awesome? And I was like, my tacos. Everybody loves my tacos because I cook the meat and beer, and I use ranch instead of sour cream on the tacos.
There you go.
When tacos are made of. And so, and they're phenomenal because I make homemade ranch. I don't buy that bottled stuff. And so it's really funny. My wife was reading through it, and she gets to that part and she starts laughing. She's like, you just had to put the tacos in there, didn't you? I was like, I couldn't think of anything else. But now it makes the story more relevant, you know?
Well, yeah.
And it's really cool taking those life experiences, or, like, you know, using my kids as characters in the book, because it's not using them, but knowing how they act. And then having a character that same age in the book and being able to write the way that they talk to me and my wife, or, you know, my wife and I, or anybody else, using the language that they use, because I witness it firsthand every day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think, you know, the number one rule for a writer is write what you know. So if you're pulling from real life experiences, it shows and people can tell. And that just makes it more personable, and the readers connect more to situations and stories and characters like that. So I am always pulling from real life experiences. And I think that's important to do because, again, if you're pulling from real life, it's more, people buy it more because there's more emotion behind it. You know, there's more passion in it when you're writing it, so it's relatable more to other people as well. So yeah, it's always good to do that.
And then it's always fun to use, like, mean life experiences too. So I got a video on here. You got to see this. It's hilarious. So I tricked my 3 and my 5-year-old into doing the Coke and Mentos thing.
Oh, nice.
And my daughter puts the Mentos in. She has one in each hand. So she puts the Mentos in and then tries to put another one in, and she's looking in the hole to try to put it in there and just takes it straight to the face. And so I put that in the story. It's actually in Xeno Nanite Titan Book 1. There's a scene where the young girl talks about, I can't really say a whole lot, and she brings back that memory. And it's really funny. Here's the video of it for those that haven't seen it, because it is freaking hilarious. And it's in slow motion.
That's beautiful.
And so, and the greatest thing is, so my son runs off screaming bloody murder, like somebody just like cut his arm off. And my daughter goes over and grabs another one and does a drive-by on it. She just like runs past it, drops another one in, and takes off running. So I know who my fight and my flight is.
There you go.
So, and of course we get inside, and for like 3 days, that's all she talked about. Dada, that was so funny. She's like, can we do that again?
You need to get that girl a skateboard and a surfboard. And
so of course a week later we went live on Facebook. Yeah, not a motorcycle.
That's hilarious. She is fearless.
She is fearless. Well, and then like we did that live, so everybody's seen it live on Facebook. And so then like a week later, we decided to go live again, and we got 4 bottles of Coke, and everybody had Mentos, and we decided to have a Mentos war out in the yard. And of course, because my phone case is an OtterBox and it's black, it got hot. So luckily, it waited to shut down until after all the commotion ended. But yeah, it overheated and died. I'm like, oh no, I don't know, because I walked over and it said phone is too hot, it shut down. And I'm like, when did it shut off? Did we do all that and nobody's seen any of it? And so I went back and watched the live video, and like literally like right at like a minute after we got done, it shut off. But
oh, that's good. Yeah. At least you got it. Oh, that's awesome.
Hey, you know what, man? It's just like, what else can you do when we were under quarantine at the time? So you couldn't go out, you couldn't do anything. So while my wife was at the store, I was like, we've got to come up with something fun to do. I'm like, we need to do the Coke and Mentos challenge. And she's like, you're not going to let our kids do that. I'm like, oh yeah, we are. She's like, you're the worst person ever. And then of course, if you go back on my timeline and find the video, because I did that for slow-mo because it's hilarious. But, you know, if you go back and watch the video, the person laughing the hardest is the one that said it was totally me.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
She's like, you're right. That was hilarious. So, but yeah, that sounds really cool. So, so what else did they do in the series? You said there was 6 full-size books and then 3 mini books in the.
Yeah. So let's see. Issue 1, is all about them going and getting, raking leaves and earning money. Then they run down to the local store and buy a bunch of clothes and throw together their costumes. So that's the big accomplishment for issue 1. Issue 2, they wait for it to turn dark because that's when all the crime occurs. And they climb to the highest point in the neighborhood, which is the neighbor's house. And they look to see where all the crime is occurring. And they find some over in Dog Alley. And they go there and they thwart the local cat burglars, Cat Scratching Fever, who are in the midst of heisting TVs out of the backs of people's windows. So they stop that. And then in issue 3, they run into the neighborhood bullies, Rattler and the Big Crumb, and they confront that situation. And then issue 4, they go back to the 3-story treehouse and run into their buddies Chocolate Thunder and Susie Q, and they have a big discussion about whether or not capes are a good idea for superheroes. because the bad guys can grab you by your cape and throw you around. So they have a vote on whether or not they should keep their capes. So yeah.
And you know what? Capes are always the subject of discussion because you never know when you're going to go buy a big machine and it's going to get caught and then you're going to get sucked into it and ground up into a million pieces. I mean,
absolutely. That's why you have to have a detachable cape. See,
that's right. Quick release.
Yes, exactly. It's all in the details, kids. It's all in the details. So yeah,
so is that series done, or something that you're going to continue?
We will probably continue it at some point. We have another issue. Actually, issue 5 is called Apple Bomb Barrage, and what happens in that is Cat Scratch and Fever, the local cat burglars, come back, and they attack the kids with stinky rotten eggs. And so they duke it. They duke it out, and because the treehouse was built in an apple tree, so you can guess what happens there. And then issue 6 is Slope Slop, and that is after a hard day of fighting off supervillains and saving the universe. You come back to the old ranch and quench your thirst with a can of Slope Slop, and it's my version of when we were kids. We used to drink Shasta soda. Do you remember that? So
yep.
We couldn't use a name brand, so I came up with my own name brand, Slope Slop, and it comes in all these different crazy flavors. So it's just a goofy little story about the kids coming and all the different flavors that it comes in, and then there's a little lesson that Big Sis comes in and gives the boys at the end of the issue. So yeah, and then we do have a 7th issue that is penciled, kinda. It's on the shelf for right now, and we'll eventually get to publishing that. But we're concentrating on Roadkill Rampage right now, and then we have another book called Unchained that we're re-releasing with a new backup story in it, and it's more a more adult themed book as well. And we released it a few years ago. We only had a small print run, and there were some things in it that we kind of dropped the ball on, and so we kind of put that on the shelf. And then we brought it back, and we fixed the things that were wrong with it, and I added a 6-page backup story. And we contacted the artist that did it originally, the artwork originally, Brian McCraney, who is from the Macon, Georgia area, and he agreed to come back and draw the 6-page edition, and it's beautifully rendered. So that's one of the levels in the Kickstarter, is you can get issue 1 of Roadkill Rampage and issue 1 of Unchained, and issue 1 of Amon's book, Arcana Vaquero, that he does with his wife. You can get all 3 of those. That's one of the levels for $15. So you get all the number 1s. So yeah, I would say that yes, there will be more issues of Peanut Pudding and Jelly, but it'll be down the road.
Now, Peanut Pudding and Jelly and the Buddy and Dude, where can somebody find those if they were looking to purchase one, or is there any copies?
On our website, hasm.com, the books are available there for purchase. So you can go there and pick them up. You can get a T-shirt with the guys on it. You can get a Hasm T-shirt or a Pitter Patter T-shirt or a Peanut Pudding and Jelly T-shirt. So yeah, there's all kind of things to choose from. All the books are there. And yeah, Roadkill Rampage. We're going to release that with the Kickstarter. So yeah, all the books that we currently have are available there for purchase. So the trade for the first 4 issues of PP&J are there, and issues 5 and 6, the floppies are there. Issue 1 of Pitter Patter's there. So yeah, you can go to Hazm.com, HAZZUM.com, and get all the books there. And then I do a blog on there about back in the 90s, and I talk about getting my start in the independent comic book game. I did a independent superhero book back then called The Superior 7. So I kind of chronicle me and my buddies from high school jumping in to the deep end of the pool and not knowing what we were doing and all the mistakes we made, in hopes that it'll teach kids today what not to do. So
I don't know. They get pretty creative.
yeah. But simple things like the artwork being proportionately sized. We had no idea that was a thing, back in 1989. So our first book and a half was done on crescent board, which is, that thick, and it was nowhere near the right size, proportionately sized 11 by 17 paper. But we didn't know, there wasn't an internet back then.
Yep.
And every mistake that there was to make, we made. But that's how we learned. So, despite the mistakes, we still we got into all the retailers back then. There were 15 distributors. It wasn't just Diamond. It was Diamond and Friendly Franks and Heroes and Moondogs in Chicago and Capital City, and there were 15 of them, and all 15 of them picked up the book. So that was pretty good. A lot of people would do a book and none of the distributors would pick it up. And by the time we were done with the Superior 7, Diamond was the only game in town, and we were internationally distributed before the internet. So when I hear people talking about, now you just get on Amazon Books and you're all over the planet. But back then, for a couple of goofballs from Cincinnati that didn't know what the heck they were doing, to be internationally distributed, an independent black and white superhero book that had pretty good sales numbers. That's something that I'm still proud of, because
it's a big deal.
When people now today are talking about, oh, we got accepted in Diamond. I sit there and I'm real quiet and I think to myself, yeah, I got accepted in the Diamond 30 years ago. So I don't know, it's just, you got to pat yourself on the back sometimes for some of the things you did right. So
yeah. Well, things have changed so much. Drastically, to the point.
Oh my God.
Like back then, you didn't have social media, you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have Facebook, you didn't have Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all this stuff out there. You couldn't go out there and say, hey, I'm working on this project, check it out. It was, you did your project and you sent it to somebody and you hoped to hear back. And if you did hear back, it could have been good, it could have been bad. And it wasn't like now where you can, submit it digitally and then get an answer pretty quick. It was, you mailed it to them, and then the long wait began. And then that letter came, and it was kind of like, now kids nowadays, you get the college acceptance letter. That's how it was for books when you submitted them. You got the letter in the mail, and you're like, this is it. And so that's really cool that you guys got all 15 distributors with that.
Yeah, they and the funny thing about that is, and I just wrote the third installment of the blog, and it covers how we learned how to do that. I don't know if you're familiar with Cry for Dawn.
Yes.
Joseph Linsner and Joey Monks back then were doing it, and we went to the New York Comic Con in 1990 as a recon mission, and then we went back. We tabled in '92, and we tabled next to them. We were in between them and Polito and Hughes from Evil Ernie Chaos Comics. But Joey Monks, he schooled us on what to do and how to do it. He taught us all about the submission packs to send to distributors and what to put in it and the type of artwork to have the most impact and we had no idea. We were just like, wow. And, back then, like you said, there was no TikTok, there was no YouTube. We had the Comic Book Buyer's Guide, which was a newspaper that came out once a month. And in the back of that was a list of all of the comic book shops in the country. And he taught us that you go and you pick the biggest ones in the biggest cities, and you pick about 50 of them, and you put together 50 submission packs, and you send it to them, and then word of mouth travels around, and you send one to all of the distributors, which back then there were 15 of them. And then if the retailers were talking about it, the people at the distributors were hearing about it. So you were kind of doing, servicing both ends of the spectrum there. And it worked. We sold the first issue sold very, very well. And it probably would have sold better, but we had to do it magazine size because of remember how I said it was the wrong size? And our options were to redraw it on the right size, which we weren't going to do because it was a 56-page book, or do it magazine size, which meant that most stores weren't going to buy it because they wouldn't fit in a comic book box for storage. So they were going to have to put it in with the Savage Sword of Conan and epics and heavy metals and stuff like that. But despite that, we still sold very, very well for issue 1. And actually, I have a copy of issue 1 right here. That's issue 1 of Superior 7.
That's awesome. Now, is that an original or is that a reprint?
No, it's the original. And then, let's see, I have a couple of the issues right here. Let's see, this is issue 5. Here's 4 and 5. Yeah.
That's awesome. So who did the cover art for?
It was a Dion Knuckles. It was a friend of ours from high school. We were all high school friends. We were all in art class together, and we all read comics, and we were all big fans of John Byrne and George Perez and the Avengers and X-Men and Teen Titans. And yes, Adam, those are available at Amazon. Yeah, you can go to Amazon and find them there. Adam just asked if they were available. And issue 1 is very limited because when we did that show in '92 in New York, we came back and we drove back, which is a 16-hour drive. We drove all the way through, and we got back to the apartment at probably 3:00 in the morning. And we were too tired to unload the car, so we left everything in the car. And the next morning, we went out to unload everything, and the back window was busted out. And all of our art supplies were stolen. And our last 2 boxes of issue 1 were gone. So all we had left was what we had at our individual houses. And I actually had to go to Mile High Comics on their website and get some issue 1s for my own personal collection, because I think I only had 1 or 2 copies of it. So I went there and they had a few copies, and I think I bought 5 issues of it. But yeah, so issue 1 is hard to get, but it's there. Yeah, I think you can get all 5 issues on Amazon, and I know that because I did a podcast yesterday, and they were all asking about the Superior 7, and one of the guys Googled it and found out that they were available on Amazon. So that's how I know.
Can you flash that issue 1 up again?
Yeah. What did I do with it? Oh, there it is.
Sorry, there was kind of a glare the first time.
Yeah, it's in a bag. Let me take it out of the bag real quick.
Sorry, I just was admiring that artwork on the cover. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, Dion currently he works for 20th Century Fox now in concept designs. he worked for Hasbro for God, about 20 years, and then
That is beautiful.
yeah, it's gorgeous. I've got the original here somewhere. Um, yeah, it's nice. And the funny thing is if you notice the difference, there's a different logo. This is issue 5. You see that triangle logo compared to this logo, and the reason for that is because our one buddy that was supposed to design the logo for the book never designed it. He kept telling us he would do it and he would do it and he would do it, and he never did it. So I called him and I was like, look, dude, it's going to the printer. You've got 3 days to get this done and get it to me, a piece of camera ready artwork that I can use. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll get it done. I'll get it done. Well, he never got it done.
Oh, no.
He didn't answer his phone. So I had to come up with that logo real quick. And that's what we used for issue 1. And then we came up with a new logo, which is the triangle logo. That's the logo that sticks. That is the logo. So yeah, that's why there's different logos. The difference in logo from issue 1 to the rest of the issues. A little behind the scenes story.
Yeah, and see, this is the stuff that I love. I mean, this is what I was talking about. I mean, it's really cool to hear. I mean, I know the most people that do this kind of thing on a daily basis is like, oh, this is a boring story. But, for people like me, it's really interesting to see how some of this stuff came to light. And,
oh, yeah,
everybody didn't have a great start to begin with. They had to really put themselves out there and get their foot in the door. And it's really cool to hear those stories, because here now down the road, you have all these series that you're working on continuously. And back then you're like, all right, we're going to submit this in the mail and hope that it goes to one distributor at least and gets in a few stores. And it's like, we got all 15 and it did really well. And so that's really cool.
The listening to you say that, it brought back the memories of, we got all those letters within a week of each other. And, there weren't even cell phones back then. So you can imagine 4 guys going to work, and then the studio was in the apartment. So after work, we would all go to the studio, and and Mike would be like, well, we got this from Heroes. Well, and he would wait, and we would all get there, and then we'd open it. And the fact that you got something basically told you that you were accepted, because it was your acceptance letter, but it was also your order invoice. So, and Diamond being the biggest distributor, that was your bread and butter. So there was like Diamond, Capital City, Moondogs, and Heroes. Those were the biggest ones. So like you were going to sell, in Diamond, you were going to sell a couple of thousand. In Heroes, you were going to sell maybe 1,000. And Moondogs, which is in Chicago, densely populated city, you're going to sell 1,000. But the smaller ones like Friendly Franks and stuff like that were in Milwaukee and places like that, you're only going to get orders for like 500 or 600 because it wasn't as densely a populated area. And again, all stuff we didn't realize until we started getting them in. And why are these orders, this low? But these are, and then it dawned on us, what we were seeing. Oh, okay, they're smaller distributors because they're in the middle of the country, so they ordered accordingly. So yeah, it was neat. And then all those letters came within a week of each other. So we'd all get home from work and run to the studio and open up those letters and say, okay, these guys ordered 3,000. These guys ordered 2,200. These guys ordered 1,700. And you're tallying everything up. So that was fun. That was like Christmas for a whole week. And now you just get an email
at your fingertips. You don't even have to go anywhere to find it. Just like bing.
That's right.
Takes all the excitement out of it. That was fun. I mean, there was a lot of cool stuff back, when we were kids that kids these days will never experience. One of those being, the cereal boxes. When you got you mailed in so many UPCs and you got the cool color change spoon.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like that was what our excitement was when we were kids. It's like, somebody's going to send me something very soon. And then, the post office being the post office, they haven't changed at all, because you would get your plastic color change spoon and it would be in 57 pieces because they crushed it on it came in the mail. So here you are, 5 and 6, 7 years old, and you're opening this bag up with your color change spoon, and it's like, oh. So I mean, there was a lot of stuff. I mean, it was the same way with, comic books. Back then you would mail in the sheet and say, I want this stuff direct mailed to me. And now, you can just go online and be like, I want this, and you can see the book, who, back then it was just a checklist. So it was a crapshoot on, well, okay, I want X-Men 111 and this. You had no idea who the cover artist was, what the cover looked like,
Right.
not anything. Now everything's at your fingertips, and it's just so weird to be in this day and age where you know everything about the book before it even comes out except the story. I mean, you almost know all of that too from the synopsis.
Kids have no idea how good they have it now.
No, they don't. So yeah, or I mean, that's the other cool part too. I mean, now you've got these crowdfunding, applications that you can use right at your fingertips. You come up with an idea and you're worried if it's not going to work or not. And so you can go out there and say, okay, here's my idea. What do you guys think? And then, either it makes it or it doesn't. It wasn't like it was back in the day where you just had to get out there and do it and hope to God that when you threw the dart in the air, it was going to hit its target. Because, I mean, now at least if it doesn't make it, you can put it online, you can put it in a digital format, and you might get a few people that pick it up for a few dollars here and there, and you still make a profit on it. But back then, if you didn't make an impression somewhere on somebody, you just did all that work for nothing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and that just is a testament to the creator spirit, because you were doing it. If you made it, great. If you became the next Eastman and Laird and the next Turtles, great. But you were doing it, for the love of it. You really were. I mean, that's true today as well. But you really were. There was a lot more at risk back then, because it was a smaller world back then. The internet really has opened up so much for so many people. And the technology with the coloring and everything being so much cheaper now. Hey, I just got a message from Tina. She was wondering how come she hasn't gotten any emails. And that's our fault.
That's our fault, because we're rattling on. Well, I was trying to wait because for some reason tonight there's a bunch of live shows going on, so there hasn't been a whole lot of people in. People have been bouncing back and forth. So I was trying to wait to see if some of the other shows would end and we would get more people that would drop in and be like, hey, what's up? Because usually, we're blowing up, but I think there's like 8 or 9 live shows that popped up tonight that everybody's trying to do, because we're in kind of a rough patch right now. I mean, everybody's kind of hanging in the balance. I mean, to be honest, I don't know. I don't like talking politics, and I'm not talking politics, but I don't know where everybody's getting that things are getting better, because we went to the store today and it hasn't gotten any better around here. Like, we cannot find anything. They are always out of everything. And it's not because people are buying it. It's just because it's not coming in.
Right.
And on top of that, people around here, they've been talking about, we got all these jobs that are popping up. We got all these jobs that are popping up. And, here, like Merritt's is a huge company here in St. Louis. And they were just talking the other day that they're in trouble. They may be possibly closing down, and that's a huge deal because they've got thousands of employees, all the hotels and everything. So things have gotten really, really bad. So these shows have just been blowing up lately because everybody's like, oh my God, nobody's buying anything. And it's like, yeah, because nobody has any money. The unemployment stopped for the people that don't have jobs, and the people that don't have jobs can't find jobs because more people are losing their jobs and less jobs are out there. And so it's been crazy. So that aside, let's do the giveaway. So the giveaway for tonight is you guys, I will post the link. You're going to get one of these holographic Roadkill Rampage stickers. All you have to do is, let me make sure I have it, the right thing in here. No, I don't. I got to recopy and paste it. So what you're going to get is this Roadkill Rampage sticker. All you have to do is go to this page, check out Roadkill Rampage, share it out to your friends on Facebook. Take a screenshot of that share on your page and email that share to Tina at hasm.com. And I'm going to put that in the comments here. So very simple. Go check out Roadkill Rampage. Check out the awesome art in it because it's absolutely gorgeous. Back it if you haven't already. And then share it to your page and let all your friends see it. And like I said, take a screenshot of that and send it to Tina at hasm.com.
And the first 3 people that send Tina an email will get the free sticker. Right? And that was, yeah, the first 3 people that do that will get the free sticker. And then, because she just sent me a message and wanted to know why she wasn't getting any emails, but it's because we didn't announce it yet. So
we didn't announce it yet. We were having a nostalgic moment talking about.
We jumped in the Wayback Machine.
We did. And those are the best stories because it's like now there's cool con stories and stuff that you have, that happen. Mm-hmm. But back then was where it was at because I don't want to sound ignorant saying this, so don't anybody take offense to this, but people just don't have the heart like they used to. Back then you really had to work to get your customers. And I'm big about that. I have no problem going on shows and talking to people and explaining what stuff means and putting myself out there and just having a heart-to-heart conversation because, it's all about forming a bond with people and not for the business end, just because we're humans. We should bond and we should work together and we should help each other with our projects. And that's what I'm all about. And so, back then, that was how this industry was geared. You helped each other out. It wasn't this cutthroat industry like it is now. All the big 2, you got them going at each other. And then, you have a great group of indie creators that all work together. They promote each other like you and Sean and Eamon and all these other people that, you guys share each other's projects. You do cross promotions. You share each other's stuff out. You go out there and you put them out there. And that's what this is all about, is the love of the creations. And I hate to see the direction that the comic book industry has gone, where a lot of times people buy books just because it's going to be a high dollar book in a month and they can turn a profit.
Well, I think that the whole COVID thing is really going to play out in that a lot of the independents are really going to take several steps up the rung of success, because we've ramped up since the shutdown. We're doing more work now than we were before, and we were in prep mode for con season, and we were ready to go jump into con season, and then the con season didn't happen, so we ramped it up even more, and we went and revamped the website. So now the website's new, and it's a great website, and the store is a functioning store. We're online. We weren't online before. We had a Facebook page, but we're online all the time. And, like you said, working together, it's a community. Everybody calls it the con family. And it is. You're building a community of friendships and relationships, because aside from the comic books, when the show is over, you get together with a group of people and you go out to dinner and you bond over war stories and, doing this commission for this person, or selling this book to this kid, or this parent saying this, or, and you're sharing your stories about the day and the weekend, and that forms bonds that, are friendships that last a lifetime. Sean and Stephanie have helped us so much with the Kickstarter because they've done several Kickstarters themselves. We've never done a Kickstarter, and they've been, true friends in helping us do that. And Sean didn't have to team up with me for the Thursday night throwdown and the Friday night draw. He's got a huge fan following, but Sean's a friend, and so now we do it together and we bring other people in, and the community is just expanding further and further. And that's the whole point. I didn't know who you were 6 weeks ago, and now every time I do a podcast, you pop up and we're here together talking, and that's the whole point. We meet new people and we make new friends, and that circle grows larger and larger, and the community grows larger and larger, and your success is my success and my success is your success if we're pushing each other and we're out promoting not just ourselves but one another. So you're not just hearing about Roadkill Rampage from Hasm. You're hearing about it from Russell. You're hearing about it from Adam Gargano, who has been following us. You hear about it from all of these other people, that they weren't around before COVID. They might have known about us, but they weren't interacting with us or anything like that. And now, it's expanded exponentially, so much larger than it was in March. And, that's the silver lining in all of this. And I think it's great. I think it's a good thing. You have to make that lemonade out of that pile of lemons that life gives you sometimes.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. And like you said, COVID has brought the best out of this because people see that Marvel and DC couldn't even sustain themselves when the shutdown happened, but
Right.
the indies rose up and showed them this is how you do it. And like you said, I think this is going to bring a lot of change down the pipeline. And I think a lot of these indie creators are going to move up on the ladder, and you're going to see a lot more indie books in your local comics book shops. I mean, that's been a lot of the issue for a long time is, you only have a few subscribers that come in and buy this book or that book. And so a lot of the like Scout Comics and Image isn't so bad, but Scout Comics and some of the other ones, you don't really find a whole lot of comic shops that carry their stuff.
Right.
And now since COVID has happened and you see all these online shows going on, you see a lot of Scout Comics. BDI, for example, Big Dog Inc., they were sending out, this is a shout out to them, they were sending out care packages to local comic shops. So when all the shutdowns happened and the brick and mortar stores were having issues trying to make money, Big Dog Inc. put together packages and put it out there. Any brick and mortar store that's out there that needs books to sell, that wants to try to bring in an avenue, we're still printing. If your customers like our books, order books from us and start selling them. They did what they could by offering up, 15, 20 books that, it didn't cost them a whole lot. But, when you're mailing that to 100 stores, 200 stores, 300 stores, however many ask, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But, that's what being indie is all about, is saying, without you, this won't work. Let's help you out, and that helps me out, and let's help each other. It's great to see that. It's great to see the people step forward.
Yeah, and it's what another interesting thing is it's a hustle, and everybody's got a different hustle. But in the end, it's the same hustle, but people execute it differently, and that's interesting to see too, because we borrow and steal from each other all the time. Okay, well these guys are doing this, well let's do that, and then we start doing it, and it's a success. It's like, okay, cool. Well, they figured it out. So, you take from that's how you learn, and that's been huge as well. And yeah, Scout did that. Source Point Press, Big Dog Inc. All of those small to medium tiered companies, and even us. We didn't, when Marvel and DC said pencils down, we were like, pencils up, and we just we've been going nonstop. There are no off days. It's it's just it's Sunday, and I've spent all day in the studio, doing stuff. But yeah, it's if you want it, you're going to work for it, and you'll work a lot harder for yourself than you'll ever work for anybody else, because it's a labor of love, and I love what I do. It wears me out sometimes, but in the end, I'm doing what I love. I'm creating, I'm writing, and I'm drawing, and that's worth the cost of admission for me, as far as I'm concerned.
It is awesome. I mean, that's just like, I said earlier, I was up until 3:05 on the dot was when I think when I posted it on Facebook this morning. I stayed up super late. The last week and a half's been rough. My son broke his arm. Long story short, the kids thought it would be a great idea to spray Lysol all over the hardwood floor. And so I was downstairs sleeping, and because I've been having really bad pain problems going on with fibromyalgia stuff. So I was downstairs sleeping. I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to go lay down. Well, I heard the kids talking, and I'm like, why do I hear the kids outside my window? Because my daughter's bedroom's right above ours. And I'm like, oh my God, they got the window open. They're hanging out. So I looked out the window to see if they're out there. They weren't out there. So I went upstairs because I thought, well, maybe my wife took them around back or something. So I went up the first set of stairs, and the front door was still locked. I'm like, well, I know my wife don't have pockets on any of her jeans, so she always leaves the door unlocked if they go outside. So I'm like, they're not outside. So I come running up the stairs. Like I look like I just like seen a ghost. Like I'm white, my hair's all crazy. And she's like, WTF, looking at me. I'm like, I don't have time to explain. So I threw their door open while I was in bed, so I didn't have my contacts in, so I couldn't see anything. And they had the window open. They were yelling at the neighbors. Well, Roderick went to run past me, and I went to stop him. And as I turned, I stepped in that Lysol on the floor, and it was over after that. I went down. He went down with me. So somehow he says I landed on his arm. We don't know exactly what happened, but it broke it here and here. So both of them, it just severed it off, and it was just like hanging there. And he goes running out of the room screaming. I'm like trying to recover from on the floor, like what just happened. And she's like, oh my God, you broke his arm. So she goes running out the door with him. So I never even seen it. So I didn't know, how women are. That I'm not saying it to be mean, but they over exaggerate. Like my son gets a cut, and it's like, oh my God, he's got to go to the emergency room and get stitches. And I'm like, oh, he's good. Just put a Band-Aid on it. And so she's running out the door. So I'm like, is it really broke? And so like I felt terrible. And so I'm like, I had no idea. So I'm like calling her. I'm like, what's going on? I can't talk to you right now. And she hung up on me. So I'm like thinking she's mad at me because she thought like somehow I broke his arm on purpose or something in some crazy sort of way. And I'm like, oh my God, so all this crazy stuff has been happening. And so when I fell, it didn't help with my back at all. So I've been down and out, and I had to have injections. So I had my goal set that last weekend this book was going to be done. Well, all week I sat there and I tried to work on it. And then, of course, lo and behold, my back's already destroyed from falling and everything else that's happened. The back of my computer desk broke and sent me flying backwards while I was sitting there. So I lifted my leg up to adjust. So I didn't have my feet on the ground. I didn't have my hands on the desk. I was just like adjusting, and it broke off. So it lunged me back. So I'm like, all right, I'm done for tonight. The book's not getting finished. I'm done with it. So I tried sitting for like 2 or 3 days to work on it. And I'm like, I can't do it. So last night, I'm like, I'm almost there. I'm like 10 pages away from finishing it. I'm finishing it. And so, yeah, it needs a little work because I forgot several apostrophes because I was so tired. I was just like typing away. And so there's a few transposed letters and stuff, but it's done. The story's great. That's what's so heartbreaking when you can't work on it. Like when I had the car wreck back in March, when I said this whole thing, I was like, I'm going to do this project. I'm going to work on it. I'm making it happen. And then 3 weeks after I started Russ Explode Studios, I bought the website. I created this. I'm like, it's happening. Russ Explode Studios is going to be a thing. And then somebody hits me. The airbag snaps my wrist back to my arm, and then I had like almost second degree burns here from the airbag and the chemicals. So it was like a chemical / rug burn. So of course I couldn't write anymore either. I mean, I guess I could have wrote one-handed, but that just gets annoying. And everybody's like, use talk text. I'm like, have you ever told your phone to text somebody something? And like, you
Not
tell
a
it,
good idea.
tell my wife to bring me a soda, and it's like comes up with some crazy thing that doesn't even have to do with soda. I'm like, I am not trying to talk to text. I'm like, I will just get upset and mad, and I'll just throw the computer across the room with one hand. So it's frustrating when you really love doing this, because it's what I've always wanted to do. Back when I was in high school, back when I was in elementary school, the teacher gave us these pictures. We would color them, and then they would say, write a story on this. And I always come up with some of the craziest stuff, because I can be super creative when I want to. And they were always really good. Everybody always really liked them, and I was like, whatever, they're not really anything. So I'm really bad about downplaying stuff. Like, I could make the coolest thing in the world that everybody loves, and I'll be like, it's a piece of garbage, because I'm super hypercritical. Like, it has to be perfect in my eyes. And so this is something. So this is something, that 11 years ago I started writing. I was working over the road. I was driving to Springfield, Illinois area, up in Peoria and stuff like that. I would spend the night, and then I would work my way back once a week. And so I told my wife, I was like, I really want to write these books. I want a Chromebook for my birthday. If you want to get me anything, get me a Chromebook so I can take it with me and write my books. So that was when I wrote Taking Steps Through the Walk of Life. And then, all the stuff that we talked about earlier happened. My son being born and having open heart surgery and all this stuff. And so, like, I was like, I give up on it. And then I always had this nagging feeling for the last 5 years, because he turned 5 in March. So right in February, when I started Russ Explode Studios, it had been 5 years since I'd even touched anything. And I was like, for 5 years, I had this nagging feeling of something's missing from my life. And so when I started writing again, I was like, this is what's missing. This is what I always wanted to do. This is what I want to do. And I love doing this. I love telling stories. I love creating new worlds. I mean, I've done it with my kids for the last 5 years. They're like, tell me a story. And I'm like, well, what do you want to hear about? And so they give me something, and I just make up my own stories, and I tell it to them, and they absolutely love it. My wife, she'll get them a book off of the bookshelf. I just come up with something crazy, like The Lion on the Mountain or something.
Right.
And so, and it's like you said, it's a labor of love. It's like, even in the hardest of times, it's like you've got to do it to help do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there.
No, it's okay. It helps you get through the crazy times, for sure. It definitely does. So yeah, I totally relate to that, big time. So I look forward to checking your book out as well. So can't wait for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's see what Ed Williams says. #team Titans inspiration. I just finished a Walking Dead 163. Bart Grimes remark cover today. Cool.
Sorry, those somebody messaged me. Yeah, no, he's been working on these Walking Dead covers. So he did one with Buzz Lightyear. It's the 163 cover where it's got the blank in the middle and it's got the group of zombies around it, and you can draw the character. So the one he did a long time ago, he did the Crypt Keeper, and it was really, really cool. And so then one of the later ones he did was Buzz Lightyear, and it was the claw, and the claw machine was grabbing him and picking him up out of the. And then he did one with Mickey Mouse as Negan, and so this one is Bart as Grimes. He's been working on, and then you just did a Stewie one too, I think, didn't you, Ed? If you're still, yeah, you're still here. He did Stewie, and then I'm missing one. It was Batman. That was the other one, the Batman one. So Ed's one of my friends. He's one of the ones that did a piece for Xenonanite Titan. And so it's something I'm pretty excited about. Here is the piece he did for Xenonanite Titan.
Nice.
So Ed's been my friend for a few years, and Ed is one of the 100 people that I have hounded for 2 years to finally go live. And I'm really excited to announce that next Wednesday, for the very first time, Ed Williams will be going live from Russ Explode Studios and inking a cover.
Nice. There you go. Way to go, Ed. Nice to meet you, Ed, by the way.
So he's an awesome artist. If you go back and look, he was one of the first guests I had on, probably like 3 months ago, I guess.
Okay.
And he's got some really cool stuff. You can check him out at Ed's Artworks. It's with an X, so just Ed's, and it's Artworks, WORX.
Okay.
He's got some really cool Harry Potter art that he's done, some black and white sketches, and so he's got some really cool stuff that he's done. But
looking for my, oh, there it is. Okay, so that's say that again. It's Ed.
Yeah, EDSARTWORX.
Got it. Yeah, I'll check that out tomorrow. Ed Williams. Cool. Sounds like a plan. All right.
Well, man, I guess we should call it a night. It was really great talking to you. I really appreciate you being on here tonight. I'm really excited about Roadkill Rampage. I can't wait to see how things pan out. You guys do, I think you guys have actually a countdown party for the Kickstarter sometime this week, don't you?
Yeah, we're doing, I'm going to be on Amanda Gillum's AGP Presents tomorrow. And I believe that starts at 4. And it's going to go for 3 hours. And the Kickstarter goes through Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But yeah, we're doing a 3-hour show tomorrow. And then I'm going to be on Odd Musings Wednesday at 10 a.m. Scott Zambelli and Brett Penson out of Michigan. And I got to go back on their show again and pimp out some Roadkill Rampage with them again. Yeah, and then something else too that's going on. I'm not sure. I know I'm driving on Tuesday, so I'm going to be off the board on Tuesday. So yeah, tomorrow's going to be a busy day. I got a whole list of stuff I got to get done tomorrow. So yeah,
No, I know how that goes.
Yeah. Tune in tomorrow if you can. We'll be on. I'm sure.
I'll definitely.
Tina's posted all about it.
Share it out.
Cool. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all that you've done for all the shares and everything that you've given us. That's priceless to us. So we really, really appreciate that. And when it's time for you to do what you got to do with your Kickstarter stuff, just let us know and we'll jump in the pool with you and help you pimp it out for you. Okay.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Excellent. And thank you again for having me on. It was a blast. It's nice to finally meet you face to face. We've talked back and forth over Facebook and stuff. So, and you're always watching the show. So, yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun. And I hope your son's arm's okay.
Yeah, he actually got a recasted Monday. So they recast it into a hard cast because the hospital casted it with a soft cast, and then she went to the orthopedic surgeon or whatever it is, and they were like, "Oh, we don't want to take the soft cast off because it's still mending, and if it becomes unset, we'll have to set it again without anesthetic because we don't have any here."
We don't want to do
And
that.
she's like, "Yeah, no, you can just leave it in that." So we had to have the soft cast for like a week, but then they hard cast it last week. So I got tasked today. I had to draw Spider-Man on it for him. So
There you go. There you
that
go.
was quite the chore on that. Bumpy material. I'm like drawing a straight line, and it's red. So of course I was like, I don't know if blue's going to show up on this, so I'm gonna have to find me a white paint marker to paint over it, and then redraw Spider-Man because it looks really crappy, but he likes it, so that's all that matters.
It's all that matters. It's all that matters.
So if you want to give everybody one last rundown of where they could find you,
Okay. You can. I am on Facebook at The Art of Rodney Fyke, Fyke, and Hasm.com is the flagship spot where all the books are available. That's Hazzum. Hasm.com is the website. I'm on Instagram at Rodney_Fyke, and I am on Twitch as well at Rodney Fyke Art on Twitch. And we do the Thursday night throwdown on the Hasm page, the YouTube page, and the Art of Rodney Fyke. We cast it to those, and on Twitch, 8 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday night throwdown with Sean Forney, and then on Friday nights at 8, we're on Sean's channels, Sean Forney Illustration. We do the Friday night draw, again 8 o'clock Eastern time, so it's 2 nights a week. And then I started doing my morning warm-up sketches. I started doing it yesterday. I did another one today, and I'm going to do another one tomorrow morning at 11. I'm going to try to do it at least 3 days a week. So we're going to shoot for either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, Tuesday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I will be back online tomorrow at 11 and drawing some more. So come check it out. And thanks again for having me. It was a blast.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot for being on here. I'm going to send you back to the green room for a bit, and we can chat for a few minutes after the show, if that's okay with you.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for being on. All right, guys. Thanks for being here tonight. It was really cool having Rodney on. It was really cool hearing about the origin stories of some of the books that he worked on back in the day and how he, met with Joseph Lenser and, got tips from him to how to get their book out there. And it's really cool hearing how successful they were with getting their book out there. So definitely check out Roadkill Rampage. Like I said, I've read it. It's a great horror story. The art is phenomenal in it. I love the black and white. The grayscaling in it is beautiful. Check it out. And not only do you get that book, but like we had talked about today, indie creators helping each other out. Sean Forney, it's unlocked. 75 backers unlocked the Scarlet Huntress digital comic book. And then there's also 2 other comic books that were unlocked at 85 backers. So help them get to that 3,000 mark and unlock the very next stretch goal at $3,000 and unlock that pin. They've got coasters, they've got bookmarks, they've got all kinds of cool stuff. Each backer gets a chance at getting original art added into their pledge when it comes in the mail. You don't know who it's going to be. It could be you. You don't know until you try. So definitely check them out. They got some great stuff. There's a lot of number ones that he talked about, that there's packages on there. You can get each person's number one for their books. Check it out. Link is in the comments. I appreciate you guys all being here tonight. We will be doing this again Tuesday with Ruben Rosas, I believe. I don't know. I'll have to check that. It's been a crazy weekend. But thanks a lot, guys. Love you all. Russ Explode Studios. I'm out.